Welcome back, I'm Wavepunk, and this is day 64 of producing for a year. We start out today by making a duplicate channel for our Mario Tunnel effect. We flagged in a previous episode that we had made changes to the tunnel sounds that we were using during the build section. We had added a stereo spreader and a delay, and that those changes were now affecting the arpeggios at the beginning of the track, and I didn't like the way that sounded. So I just made a duplicate channel here, copy and pasted the data down, and then deleted those effects. Sounded pretty good. Cool, easy fix there. Now, moving through the rest of the piece, continuing to add little details here. We added a few risers and swells throughout the beginning section here, including the transition to the Game Boy section, which we can now do because we have our buses all set up properly, and we can finally have little sound effects that don't go through the Bit Crush transition. I added this Daydream riser from the beginning of the piece to see what that would sound like. It sort of works, but it also sort of takes away from the cool Bit Crush effect. Maybe we could pull it down in volume, and what if we added more Game Boy sound effects on top of this? I had an arcade drum kit in my maybe folder up at the top, and maybe this is the right spot for it. Ooh, yes, I think this works. Let's add some echo to that final note so it's not such a sudden drop-off. Okay, the riser still feels a little strong. What if we just turn it off? I think I like it better with just the Game Boy sound, so we get rid of the riser and move on. Okay, so now this entire section between the Game Boy bit and the drop, that kind of like the beginning of the side trance there. After the first few loops, when we're kind of like, once the side trance effect has worn off and we're kind of very familiar with where we're supposed to be, it's starting to feel a little bit empty and lifeless, especially compared to the rest of the track, which has got lots of vibrant detail in there. So I want to start adding more things here. One thing I think would be cool is to change up our kind of pad foundation here. And what if we used our new choir libraries to create a space shift to keep the ideas fresh? Okay, I like it. It sticks out a bit right now. What if we borrowed a tremolo from another instrument and scooped a bit of the mid out of it so it doesn't pull away from the leads as much? Those leads are kind of starting to get buried. What does that sound like? Cool, okay. The leads are still kind of far back, but we can worry about that a little bit later. Coming out of that, I listened through the track, just trying to see what else would feel good. And at the end here, we have this drum groove playing after the conclusion of the build. And it's such an energetic groove that it sort of feels like a continuation of the energy from the fight, and I do want this to be a shift. I want it to feel like we've won and now we can kind of like breathe and there's a relief here. So what if we had it fade in at the beginning so it kind of helps with that immersive storytelling aspect of this piece? That. I think we'll leave it in for now. See how it feels in the coming days here. So it's a good little day of work here. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.